Hello ladies, it is Tiffany of Clarity, Confidence, Courage, Women's Empowerment, and today I want to talk about divorce shame, what it is and how to get over it. You would be amazed at how many women come to me for coaching and trying to move forward and rebuild their lives, but they're still dealing with divorce shame and all the feelings that come with what it was like for them to go through the divorce. Even if it's been years since they got the divorce, they are still holding on to that shameful wound and they want to figure out how to move forward. So today we're going to talk about what divorce shame is, why it's a thing especially for women after divorce, and how to move past it. Now, I've always, of course, before we move forward, definitely hit that subscribe button, give me a like, and share this video with other women who are contemplating, or who have gone through a divorce and are really dealing with the shame around this subject matter. All right, let's jump into this content. Now, before we can talk about divorce and divorce shame and what shame is, we have to talk about the reason why it exists. And the first reason is social norms. You see, a social normative from a psychological perspective are kind of like the unwritten rules of society. And when I say society, it's whatever society you grew up in, or your culture, or your community, or your family. The unwritten rules can be something, for example, as if you grew up as a kid and you drink milk every day. Your parents pour you a glass of milk. They tell you milk is going to give you strong bones and healthy teeth. You see kids at school drinking milk. You believe that as you drink milk as a child, that is going to benefit you in a way as you grow up as an adult. So you have a social norm around drinking milk because it's how you were raised. It's what you were raised to believe. Your parents drink milk. They give you directives about what milk, the benefits of milk are. And then you actually see other kids drinking milk. It's a part of your social norm. So that's just one example of a social norm. And in a lot of societies, there are social norms around marriage, especially women getting married. Now, of course, it's not specific all the time because there are cultural differences. There are, generational differences. There are differences in how you should be married. But overall, since I have been on earth, there is a lot of social norms around marriage, especially for women. That women should be married by a certain time, how women should behave when they get married. There's social norms if you grow up in a patriarchal society where the idea is that the man is the head of the household and a woman is supposed to change her names. You may have beliefs around children and that the children are supposed to keep the lineage of the man's bloodline, if that is your belief system. You may have religious beliefs around marriage. Some religions condemn divorce and say that marriage means to death do you part. So I bring all this up because I'm giving examples of what social norms are specifically around marriage and idealisms of marriage. Now, again, I'm not saying this is a blanket statement for everyone because it may differ depending on your culture, on where you grew up, on your family structure, on your religious beliefs, on your societal values, on your social economic status. All of it may differ depending on those things. Now, divorce is the opposite of marriage. So when you get a divorce, it kind of seems like you're going against the social norm. Now, I want you to really take that in for a second. Really think about what I just said. Divorce, in many cases, is going against the social norm that most women grew up believing or grew up raising to believe. I'm not saying all, but most, and especially in older generations. I think the younger generation is changing slightly, but when you think about it, there is this kind of belief around divorce and marriage. Now, when I gave you that example of social norms and what it means to go against a social norm, a lot of times people pick up feelings of shame. So now let's talk about what is shame in and of itself. Shame is an internal feeling, a negative feeling many times, of unworthiness, of humiliation, of embarrassment, of sadness, of anger sometimes. Shame can be a mix of all those different feelings of emotion. Shame can make you feel like maybe you did something wrong, even though you may not have done something wrong. Shame can make you feel like you're a failure, like you failed your family, or you failed society, or you failed social norms. Shame can make you feel like you have to hide a part of who you are, or hide something that's going on in your life, or hide some part of you that's really, really important, but you feel shameful about it. So you feel like you have to hide it from the world. Shame can make you feel like you are no longer lovable, or that you're an outcast from your community, or that you're now lost, like you're a loser. Shame can bring all these emotions on all at the same time. Divorce shame is specifically about the shame that you feel around divorce. For example, if you get divorced, you may feel like you failed your family. You may feel like you failed your religion. If you have children, you may feel like you failed your children. How could I get a divorce and take away my children's, father or mother, whoever it was? How can I fail them? Shame may feel like you failed as a woman. Again, a part of how you're raised, you may feel like a big part of your womanhood is marriage. So if you failed at your marriage, you may think that you failed in womanhood. There's so many ways that divorce shame specifically can make you feel. It may even make you feel like you're isolated now, like no one understands what you're going through. And it may make you feel like you can't talk to anyone because maybe you don't know a lot of women that have gone through a divorce. When you feel those feelings of divorce shame, it can lead to certain behaviors, sometimes self-destructive behaviors, like depression, anxiety, cutting, or things that really physically hurt your body. It can lead to you isolating yourself and not talking to anyone else, again, because you feel shameful. And here's the thing, for ladies that have children, don't think that it doesn't affect your children. Divorce shame will affect your children because you can be pretending like everything is fine, but children are very perceptive. They don't just listen to what you say. They look at how you behave and what you do. Shame has a behavior. Shame will make your children grow up feeling like their mother was unhappy, and maybe she was unhappy because of me. Maybe I did something wrong. So then it gets them in a cycle where they feel like they have to do everything they can to make you happy because all of their lives, unbeknownst to them, you were kind of sad. You weren't a happy woman. And they don't know, or maybe they don't realize that part of your depression or your unhappiness was because you carried divorce shame with you for a very long time. So here are my tips for how to get over divorce shame. The first part of moving past divorce shame is having compassion for yourself. Be willing to see that you're a human being. And as human beings, we are all on a journey. This human existence is not always easy. There are going to be some challenges. But know that just because you got a divorce, it doesn't make you a bad person. Being divorced is a label, but it is not a description of who you are, what you are about, what your values are, what you contribute to the world. It is just one phase of your life that you have experienced. So have some compassion for yourself. Be willing to understand that it was a bad situation. Maybe you did make some bad decisions during your marriage. Maybe your partner made some bad decisions. But having compassion with yourself opens you up to being able to forgive yourself so that you can move forward and come out of divorce shame. Number 2, don't compare yourself. Like, you got divorced, so stop looking at that woman or your best friend who has this happy, perfect marriage. She's always posting pictures on Instagram and how amazing her marriage is. Well, great for her, but that's not you. And be okay with that. Be okay understanding that your circumstance is different. Don't compare yourself to your grandmother or your great-grandmother who was married for over 100 years. They never got divorced. Well, guess what? That was a whole different generation. And you don't know what your grandmother had to go through and had to sacrifice in order to stay in that marriage. So don't compare yourself to her. The bottom line is don't compare yourself to others. Your situation and your experience is unique just to you. You have to be willing to see yourself in your own silo. Understand that you have gone through something major. And even though everybody else somehow or some way has made their circumstances work, number one, you don't know their life. You don't know exactly what they're going through. You don't know how they were raised. And you have to be willing to, again, have compassion with yourself and accept that you are on your own journey, running your own race, on your own path, and having your own human experience. Number 3, feel your emotions. Ladies, when I got divorced, I cried every single day. Well, I cried a lot before I got divorced, but after my divorce, I cried. And at one point, it was so frustrating. It's like, when am I going to stop crying? Well, the answer was, there is no answer. You stop crying when you stop crying. The bottom line is, feel your emotions, whether they're happy emotions, whether they're sad emotions, whether they're anger emotions, whether you write it down in your journal, scream it into your pillow if you need to. But the bottom line is, feel it. Don't try to stuff it down with positivity and watching, positive stuff and reading all the self-help books. Just go ahead and let yourself feel it, whether it's anger, whether it's frustration, whether it's pain. And some women may have an emotional gap inside of them. I've met some women who they're feeling a lot of frustrations and emotions and they want to cry, but they literally can't because they've been taught so long to stuff their emotions. So I honestly tell women, sometimes you need to unplug the cord, let it out, listen to some sad music, force yourself in some ways to cry, because crying will, in many instances, give you relief. Now, I'm not saying it's going to fix all your problems, but it is going to allow you to have that emotional flow and just let it all out. And be willing to write this stuff down. Journal about your emotions. Journal about how you feel. Journaling helps so much. The bottom line is, you're not a robot. Every human being has emotions, men and women. Don't allow yourself to fall into the belief that if you become emotional or you have any emotions, that you are overly emotional. No, you're a human being. Human beings have emotions. Let them out. Next, self-care. Yes, divorce is probably one of the hardest things you will ever go through. Be willing to give yourself some self-care. Now, I've talked about this before. Self-care can be a variety of things. It may be taking a day off work, getting a massage, getting extra sleep, eating some nutritional foods that you might need. Self-care can be going for a walk. Self-care can be rubbing lotion on your hands. The whole point is, make some space in your calendar to do something just for the benefit of you feeling good. That's it. Sometimes self-care can just be asking your mom to watch the kids so that you can just have a day to yourself and sit in silence and think. Self-care does not have to be expensive. You don't have to buy anything for self-care unless you want to. But sometimes self-care is just going within yourself and giving yourself what you need to feel, to be present in the moment, and to really love yourself. Self-care can be meditation. The bottom line is, give yourself some self-care time. Don't just make your life busy. Make it something that actually makes you feel happy and fulfilled. Get moving. Yes, I'm serious. Move your physical body. Go out for a walk. Go for a jog. Go to the gym. Join a boot camp, whatever it is. Take a yoga class, take a dance class, take a Zumba class. Do something active. You have to move your body. Our bodies are a part of us. And so many times we get so caught up in this, the only reason to move our bodies is to lose weight so we can look good and fit into some dress. No, bodies need movement, not just to lose weight or to gain weight or to whatever. It's not about physical appearance. Physical movement of your body has been shown to affect your internal organs, to affect your hormones. It is a physiological change that happens when you have physical movement in your body, especially if you can add high intensity in intervals. So if you walk and you're walking your neighborhood and the neighborhood has, hills and you have to pump hard, that makes a difference. And you do that a couple times a week, maybe. The point is, get moving. Take your kids out, run around the park with them or in the backyard, take your bikes out and do biking with your children, whatever it is. I'm just throwing out some ideas, ladies, but you have to move your body. The worst thing you can do, whether it's a divorce, it's a death, anything, is to not be physically active. Humans need physical activity. We will not survive if we don't move our bodies. So get out there, be physically active, change your physical state. I'm telling you, is going to make you feel better. And before you know it, you're going to be adding it to your calendar as a regular habit that you have throughout the week. And lastly, therapy. Ladies, therapy changed my life. I have gone to so many therapists over my lifetime, but especially during my marriage, during my divorce, and after my divorce. Of course, therapy during the marriage was just to cope with the extremely difficult relationship. But once I was going through the divorce process and got a divorce, I got a specific divorce counselor that dealt with divorce. And it helped me so much. And we didn't just talk about issues that happened during my marriage. We talk about a lot of issues that were in me. It gave me a space to be very reflective and really look back at how did I get into this marriage in the first place? What was the root cause of me putting myself in a position to be in such a antagonistic and in some cases unsafe circumstance with a partner? So when I talk about therapy, therapy isn't just a session where you talk about how horrible your spouse was, right? Your ex-spouse. Therapy after divorce is all about you. It's all about getting to the root of who you are so that you can move forward healthy and healed. It really helps to start getting on that path to healing those wounds. If you need to start looking at some therapists, I have a link in my description for onlinetherapy.com, which is the therapy site that I promote. They're an affiliate partner. And definitely take a look. They have therapists all around the world, different time zones, and different activity levels that they have based on how involved you want to be with your therapist and how far you want to engage with your therapist. So I'll put that link in the description below, but definitely make sure that after a divorce, you allow yourself to get therapy in order to heal the wounds of shame. So that is all for me today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got something out of it. And hey, if you're in a situation where you're like, Tiffany, I really am moving past a lot of, the issues that I had with my divorce, but I need help rebuilding my life. Let's chat. I have a link in my description below to get on my calendar and jump on a call, a free coaching strategy session. We talk about where you are, where you want to be, and if us working together is the best next steps. So definitely click that link below, a free discovery call, so that you can really get to the bottom of how you want to move forward with your life. As always, make sure you share, like, and subscribe to the channel, and definitely let me know in the comments what you thought about this. If you've gone through divorce shame or if you're still going through it, I'd love to hear your comments. As always, it has been a pleasure to talk to you, and I will see you next time.